Hello, it's me, Bizarre Good Boy. But on this channel, I go by Zartholomew. It's kind of like Bartholomew, but with a Z. And no, you can't call me Zart. So those that are familiar with my face, yes, I did shave my beard. If you don't like it, die. Anyway, my full username is Zartholomew Kuma. Kind of like Bartholomew Kuma. Have you ever heard of One Piece? Sorry. I know that some of you winced at the thought of dedicating time to something that makes you a better human. But unlike most things that leave my mouth, this one has a purpose. You might be wondering, what could I possibly mean by top zero? Well, it's a pretty short answer. One Piece. For the uninformed, One Piece, to me and many others, is the greatest piece of media in general ever. Oda isn't human, and no one in history has ever told a story as good as he. There is a close runner-up, but in no universe is it closer than light years apart. Oda's storytelling is like weight classes in boxing, except everyone else is a featherweight and Oda has a Barrett M82 50 caliber rifle and they allowed him to fight from high rise. He has aimbot and his dad works for Microsoft. What I'm getting at is that it isn't fair. So much so that people ask me, what did you think about Snafu? And I tell them, oh, it's the One Piece of rom-com anime. Because when you exist at the same time as the greatest story ever told, it's hard to put into perspective how great something is relative to the greatest story ever told. To everyone who has seen or read One Piece, you get me. I know it makes perfect sense to you. To people who haven't, it causes confusion. And so I devised a plan. And unfortunately, it took a while. Because after I caught up to One Piece, for an entire year and some jangles, everything I watched just wasn't her. One day, it hit me. Human beings in a mob. What's a mob to a king? Furthermore, what's a king to a god? And what's a god to a non-believer who don't believe in anything? Why compare two drastically different things? Especially when the answer is always the same. So I removed One Piece from the equation. If I don't allow Oda to bring a Spartan laser to the Griffball tournament, he won't kill the fun. And so that's what I did. I said, you're too good, have your own category. On my anime list, there is no anime or manga ranked higher than a 9, and that's because 10 is reserved for One Piece. But it doesn't stop there. People go, what's your top 5 anime? I say, well, my top 0 is One Piece, let's get that out of the way. They say, okay, so that's your 1 spot. You have 4 more. No, I say, and then I lunge at them. On standard rating scales, like 1 to 5, 1 to 10, A through F, you are confined to these ranges. And since I don't believe One Piece to be in the same bracket as other media, in my mind, a standard way of ordering or rating it would be blasphemous. So I break the rules. If I reserve a 10 out of 10 rating for One Piece, then the rating system is now non-standard for both. One Piece can only ever be 10 out of 10, as there are no other numbers to be. And the new perfect score for everything else becomes 9 out of 9. The new range of that scale is 1 through 9. The same goes for opting out of reservation and instead creating a place that exceeds the bounds. Say 1 to 5 ordering. If 1 is the best of the 5, then the uncomparable entry must lie outside of the range. In other words, 0. Are you following what I'm saying? Which would you rather me do? Tell you the truth? That all spots belong to One Piece and there is no 6th? Now you have no other recommendations from me? I'm saving you the heartache. I'm getting you on board with how you have to think when you're a One Piece enjoyer. Because I don't want anyone else to go through what I went through. Do you know how depressing it is to consume mid for an entire year? No, you don't. And it's because you've never consumed peak. You don't have it in you. You've never had to cook half a brick in the air fryer. So top 0 spawned from that. Things that I hold so highly they'd shit on the competition get put in the top 0 range of their respective categories. Celeste, Halo, and Black Desert. Top 0 puzzle platformer, FPS, and 2014 action MMORPG. Zenless Zone Zero. Top 0 gacha goonin game. Cream Cheese Rangoons. Top 0 Panda Express menu item. Look. Top 0 makes the most sense to me. It's a silly system that I made up to protect myself from endless suffering. If you disagree with it, you're directly attacking my peace. I hope you end up in Oda's kill cam, you lint liquor. On a serious note, if I hadn't created this system for myself, I would have never been able to enjoy Berserk, the runner-up I mentioned earlier, or Freerun, Chainsaw Man, or anything with an 8 or above on my anime list. Had I still been comparing everything that I could see to that which transcends mortal man, I would have never made it out alive. And if I let myself become so jaded, I'd have missed out on joy, love, laughter, and everything in between. I had to learn to enjoy things for what they are and not for what they could never be, because there truly is no church in the wild. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you didn't enjoy the video, report my account. And lastly, if you so much as blew air out of your nose at anything I said, subscribe. I won. Don't be a sore loser. Feel free to drop a comment about your thoughts on the system. I will be reading them all and telling you you're wrong if it doesn't align with my values. Y'all be easy.